So that's what we're doing for International Walk to School Month throughout October. We've also got our new We Walk series, which is being launched later this month. And then we have WOW, which a few of you may have heard about, and that's our year-long walk to school challenge. So that's just happens, as it says, all around the year. So to kick us off then, so October, as you know, that's why we're here today, is International Walk to School Month. So what we've planned is an autumn street safari. So what we're doing is we're challenging pupils to take a few minutes on their walk to school to collect special items and basically celebrate autumn with some fun activities. So here in the UK, it gets a little bit cold, more wintry throughout autumn. And the things that they will be looking for, we'll not go through the whole list, but things like, will they dance around a mushroom? We see lots of mushrooms around. Will they juggle with pine cones? Maybe make up a scary story? And we want to see how many activities they cross off the list. And then we're also asking parents and carers to get involved by sharing their favourite memory from their autumn from their autumn street safari, and there's a chance then to win prizes in our prize draw. If anybody wants to read more about this or hear more about, there's plenty more information on our website. I can put some links in the chat later, but it's livingstreets.org.uk. And yeah, there's free lesson plans as well for any school teachers to use if they wish to. And then, yeah, for any school personnel that might be here today, the Autumn Street Safari is a free resource. So you can simply click on the button to download it from our website, and then you can either hand it out or add it to your school newsletter. And it is downloadable in both English and in Welsh via the links on our website. So that's our International Walk to School Month promotion. And then something we're trialing, we haven't started it yet. This is kind of a first glimpse of it, but we're starting this later in October, mid-October, with the aim of trying to extend our reach to more schools, really, at a low cost. So it's basically an online series of events called We Walk. And the first one is We Walk with Confidence. So I'm not going to go through the whole assembly, but I'm just going to pick out a few little bits from the assembly to give really a first glimpse of what it is. But they're basically online assemblies. And the first in the series is We Walk with Confidence. It's aimed at improving knowledge and awareness of active travel, mainly among schools that aren't already doing well in the UK. So we'll have 6 assemblies across the academic year, 1 per half term, and they're delivered by our coordinators. So as I say, it is a pilot. We'll make some tweaks as we go along, but if anybody does attend them, we'd love to hear your feedback if you do attend, so that we can make them even better. So we'll start off just reminding schools to add their school name and number of pupils. And this is so we can track who's coming to those assemblies as well. So that's very useful for our data. We're always looking for data. And then we'll just talk about things like, you know, what active travel is. You know, it's what do we mean by active travel? And of course, it's walking, it's wheeling, you know, it's scooting, it's cycling. And then we'll ask we'll ask questions. For example, you know, what are the benefits of active travel? How many benefits can they think of? And, you know, we'll ask them for the type of answers that we expect to hear. I'll let the slides catch up a little bit. There we go. There you go. Those are the types of things. So, you know, one of the things we'll ask about is, what is confidence? I don't know if anybody here today wants to have a little, you know, chat. What is confidence? Does anybody know? You know, there's a question out there, but this is what we'll ask the children as well. But I'll not put anybody on the spot. But basically, we say that confidence is being certain of your abilities and having trust in your plans. So, you know, it's things like being happy, safe, not worried, you know, relaxed. And these are all the things we want from people walking to school, that they do feel safe, that they do feel confident in walking our streets. So then we'll go on to ask things like, you know, what does confidence feel like? You know, and we've got a few words there that can help describe that they might come up with, of course, you know, the excitement, the laughter, the freedom, the joy of walking. And then, of course, I've missed out lots and lots of slides here, but we'll finish with a quiz. And say, don't worry, I'm not going to test all of you today on what I've just said, but it's nice to have a quiz at the end just to see if the children have listened. So, and then we'll go on to think about the goals that pupils can set themselves to help them walk with confidence. So things that they're going to do maybe throughout autumn, like know where to cross the road. It's like getting their things ready the night before so they're not in a rush, so they've got time to walk to school, that type of thing. So that's just a glimpse into what our We Walk series is. And then, so on to WOW. So for those that might have heard some of our presentations before, so WOW is our year-round walk to school program. So we are funded by Active Travel England, who's there today, to deliver WOW in quite a lot of schools throughout England at the moment. We have other funders for other regions as well in Scotland and Wales. And schools can also buy WOW as well. But basically, WOW is trying to get families to change their behaviour to try and walk more. And this is for children that can walk to school and that live close enough to walk to school. If they don't, we do have the Park and Stride as well that they can do where they can park, drive a small distance, park, and then walk the rest of the way to school. But these are the badges basically that they can collect. So it runs all year round. It rewards the children who travel actively to school, and then they collect these badges. So there's 11 badges. Children don't go to school in August in England, so there's no August badge. But these badges are unique. They're designed by the pupils themselves each year. This year, our theme is Walk with Imagination, and all of these badges say were designed by children, and the original designs are actually on our website. These are just slightly computer enhanced on those, but you can see who the winners are there. As if you want to visit our website, you can do. And then we got some badge packs as well there. But pupils love, entering our badge design competition. So pupils who walk at least once a week, each week of the calendar month, can earn a badge. So there's 11 to collect. And yeah, if you want to learn more about those and the sustainability of those, do visit our website and have a little look. But they are all sustainable, I'll tell you that. So then how do we do this? So basically, we want to monitor how the children walk to school. We collect baselines to see how they travel before they start the initiative. And then we have what's called a travel tracker, where they self-report how they travel to school, and then they will see how they're progressing towards their badges. So basically, the travel tracker brings the challenge to life. So pupils log their daily journeys on the system, and then we use those statistics, and they can also be used to earn the School of Modeshift Stars awards as well. So this goes towards their accreditation for Modeshift Stars. So on the WOW Travel Tracker, schools and local authorities can also see in the background like the insights into the travel habits, and they can track the progress of schools in their area, in their regions as well. They can see so schools can see which classes are leading the way. And we also have a national and a local authority leaderboard, and our WOW Top 10 leaderboard is actually running throughout October as well. We do that 3 times a year, just a bit of a competition element really between the schools and the local authorities. So again, there's useful resources and guides on our website for anybody that might want to find out a little bit more about that. And then finally, here's just a calendar of activities that's coming up that can accompany each badge throughout the year. It's a bit small to see on the screen, but it includes things like International Walk to School Month for October and Road Safety Week in November, Clean Air Day and that type of thing. So I just want to say thank you very much. It's a whistle-stop tour, whistle-stop tour, because we do quite a lot. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer or try and find the answer for you if I don't know it now. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Catherine. And yeah, I really appreciate you whizzing through the amazing work that Living Streets does. It's almost too much to condense in 10 minutes. As mentioned, we will be taking questions for Catherine, Corinne and Edward shortly after the first 3 presentations. But now I'm excited to hand over to Corinne Vibert, who is in the studio with us today and will be presenting about the work of East.
Thanks very much. And yeah, as Emily said, my name is Corinne. I work for EAST, which stands for the Eastern Alliance for Safe and Sustainable Transport. Can we next slide, please? So just a quick introduction to EAST. We are essentially a regional partnership of local road safety NGOs. We work across 14 countries in Eastern Europe, Central Asia, and the Caucasus. In the countries where we work, the burden of road traffic casualties is much higher than it is in the EU. It's around 2.5 times higher than across the EU. So it's disproportionately high. And it's also a region where vehicle fleets are growing very fast. Cars are very dominant. And where improvements in road safety will make a really big difference. Next slide, please. So yeah, again, just a bit more. We are a UK registered charity. Although we work internationally, we are members of the United Nations Road Safety Collaboration. We are associate members of the FIA. We are members of the Global Alliance of NGOs for Road Safety. And we're a global partner of the Child Health Initiative, which is a partnership of international organizations led by the FIA Foundation and includes UNICEF, UNDP, and other international organizations promoting child health and safety. Next slide, please. So these are just some of our areas of work. Children's road safety is one of our key ones, as well as active travel and healthy streets. We do a lot of work around safe and inclusive mobility, occupational road safety, post-crash enforcement, and road safety governance and capacity building. Next slide, please. So just a bit about how we work, because it's quite a unique model. Our model is based on the belief that local people and NGOs have a unique perspective on the policies and the impact of policies on local communities, and they understand their local context. And having this input into road safety decision making is key. Our goal therefore is to build the capacity of local NGOs to nurture homegrown expertise and leadership within the countries where we work to fulfill this role. We do this in a variety of ways. We provide small grants, small mentored grants to our partners. Being part of the EAST network means that our partners have access to resources, training, expertise, as well as sort of international best practice. They often work together to come together and deliver projects and make sure we're not reinventing the wheel, we're not overlapping, we're not doing the same sorts of things. And then finally, what we do is we give a region that's quite often overlooked a voice on the global stage, and vice versa. We bring sort of the global information to our region. Yeah, so next slide, please. Okay, so now I can talk more about our projects and our work around safe school zones. I'm going to talk about two of our core projects today, and these are both regional projects. The first is one that we are implementing across 7 countries to promote 30 kilometers per hour speed limits around schools and safer infrastructure that's 20 miles per hour. And the second is promoting active travel as a viable means of everyday transport in Central Asia and trying to reduce some car dependency. Both of these projects have seen some very significant achievements over the last couple of years. So I wanted to just sort of talk more about our sort of methodology and how we work and how this applies to these projects, and how we think these are key elements of successful road safety projects. Next slide, please. So before I started, I just wanted to show some images of the types of roads that we're talking about. These are very typical roads of the region. All of these are in front of schools or very close by to schools. There are examples here. We've got Georgia, Azerbaijan, Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan here. And so you can see there's very little in the way of any kind of infrastructure, pedestrian or cycling infrastructure. The roads are very wide. The traffic is often moving very fast. In fact, across all of our countries, the average speed limit around schools is set at 40 kilometers per hour, but this is very frequently exceeded. There's almost no enforcement. There's no infrastructure, as you can see. So it's a big challenge that we're facing. Next slide. So to begin with, in terms of our project, our work is always grounded in local knowledge and input. So for this reason, the exact approach and the way we do things in every country is slightly different. Nothing is ever the same, because you have to work within what's locally relevant. So all of our projects are tailored to the local knowledge of our partners. They plan and implement projects that will have the best possible impact based on their local context, the laws, the level of awareness, understanding of the issues, the level of community support there is. Then what a lot of our partners do is they work with the traffic police to see what data there is locally, if there is data, because it's very often lacking. Sometimes we collect our own data, so we measure operating speeds of vehicles passing schools. We try to identify sites of intervention based on as much data as we can gather. We analyze existing legislation, we assess infrastructure, we conduct community surveys, consultations to build up as much information as we can to inform our approach and our priority areas. Through our Safe Routes to School project, we found that the implementation of small-scale, like evidence-based demonstration projects has been extremely valuable. In each country where we've worked, we've implemented at least a pilot safe school zone according to international best practice as much as we can. And this approach is really valuable because it lets people see for themselves how lower speed limits or how new infrastructure works in practice. We find it's very useful when it's to overcome resistance. It changes perceptions, it busts myths and sort of misconceptions that people might have. And it's also really useful for making a case for wider change if you've got a really successful examples. And, the thing we always hear is, oh, yeah, you can implement low speeds and nice infrastructure in London or Paris, but it's not going to work in Chisinau or Tbilisi because things are different here. People's mindsets are different. The culture is different. But likewise, you also hear, oh, yeah, that's going to work in Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia, but it's not going to work in our small town in the rural area. And I think we even get it here in the UK. Oh, that works in London, but it's not going to work in Edinburgh, whatever. There's always an argument. So if you can show something locally that is working in your town, you get rid of all of that noise. So that's what we're trying to do a lot of the time, and that's when people begin to shift. Next slide, please. So the next sort of key element that runs through our project centers on getting the buy-in of decision makers, but also making sure that implementing agencies have the capacity and knowledge they need to promote the cause from within, but also implement the changes when they need to. Something we find quite often is there is support and there is a willingness to make these changes, but very often they don't know how. They don't know where to start. So a lot of our work is about highlighting where to start. It's about highlighting how speeds are part of the safe system approach, how to be truly effective. There needs to be understanding engagement across the board, across different government departments, different political levels, across sort of different themes, I guess. And we try to bring very often all of those stakeholders together. In some cases, it's the first time people working in environment and the police and road safety are in the same room. So it's quite important work, and it can be sometimes quite eye-opening to see those discussions happen and the connections begin to get made, that how things can influence one another. A lot of work we do is to deliver training sessions. We produce resources and toolkits, and we translate them into different languages that can be used by our partners across the region. Next slide, please. Another really important one that a lot of our partners do, and they do very successfully, is to build relationships and develop community support. As they're NGOs, they're all embedded really deeply within their local communities, so they can play a really huge role here. A lot of our partners do work around outreach, talking to school communities, neighborhoods of where changes are happening, importantly, explaining why they are happening and how they're going to benefit them and what things will mean for them. They use a range of methods, and they talk to a range of people. They speak to media, police, religious leaders, but crucially, they really tried to talk to drivers and people in cars, because when we're advocating getting out of cars, you get that resistance from car drivers. So getting their buy-in is crucial. But also doing this, you sort of find out what people want and what people need and how to develop the project so that it is meeting everyone's needs. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so talking about meeting community needs, this is a really vital element that we need to consider. As part of our school zones project, we have implemented 2 communities perception surveys now to find out what people think about lower speeds around schools. We did one in 2021, one in 2023, and we've got a 3rd round planned for early next year. And this work is letting us see for each country what people are thinking, what they are believing, what they think are the main issues, what misconceptions they have. And this sort of in turn forms what we do, how we communicate, how we engage, and how we shape our projects. As part of our active travel project, we've implemented a round of surveys in Central Asia to find out what are the barriers to people walking and cycling. And I think unsurprisingly, the main one is road safety. So that's something that we're really pushing and working on. And with all of this, it sort of helps and shape our ongoing work. Next slide. So this is just where does all of it get to? I'm just going to share some headline achievements from both of our projects here. So this is our Safe School Zones project. I've highlighted 3 countries where we've had particular progress. All of these 3 countries, so we've got Armenia, Georgia, and Moldova, have all seen some level of policy commitment from the government or from their city. In Georgia, road safety is delegated to city level, whereas the other countries, it's at national level. So we focus on those. All of our partners have been involved in government decision-making processes around road safety in the form of working groups or as part of National Road Safety Council, so bringing expertise and international best practice and local voices into those discussions. Next slide, please. And then in terms of our active travel project, this has seen a lot of firsts in the region. As I mentioned, it's extremely car dependent area. When we first brought up this project in 2020, active travel had never really been heard of in some of these countries. So I say, we're starting not even at 0, but like minus level approach. So we're really going from the bottom up. So yeah, ostensibly it's the first time that walking and cycling has been discussed within the context of everyday travel. We had the first ever Active Travel Youth Summit. We're in the process of implementing the first ever tactical urbanism project in Tajikistan to create a safe public space around a public transport hub. We've published breakthrough research on the feasibility of bike sharing schemes, policy reports on walking and cycling. We've got support from Mayor's Office and even Prime Minister's level in Uzbekistan. And this project is still going on, so we hope to see a lot more develop in the next few years. So hopefully that just gives you a flavour of what we do. It's very quick, very broad overview. But yeah, thank you. Look forward to your questions.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Corinne. That's absolutely fascinating and great to see all the different work that's happening over in Central Asia and Eastern Europe. So thank you. We'll now move over and hand over to Edward Falk, who is presenting online. So Edward, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Edward Falk, and I'm super happy to be here today to talk about a project that it's very close to my heart, really, the bike bus. And for the past 4 years, I've been involved in promoting and developing bike bus projects, primarily here in Catalonia, in Spain. And it has been an incredible journey, and I'm excited to share experiences and insights with you today. So let's get on the bike bus together and let's explore this exciting initiative. Next slide, please. So what is a bike bus? Next slide, please. Well, simply put, a bike bus is just a group of children cycling together to school and usually accompanied by adults. And it's like a traditional school bus, but on bicycles. And this concept offers multiple benefits, of course, safety, with adult supervision and strength in numbers. Health, of course, it's like cycling. It's starting the day with physical activity. Sustainability, reducing traffic and pollution around schools, and also community, fostering friendships and independence. So next slide, please. And how does a bike bus actually work? Well, it functions much like a traditional bus, but with some key differences. First, it has predefined route. We establish a set route from residential areas to the school, and then it has fixed schedule like a regular bus. We have specific times for each stop, and we also have meeting points like bus stops, and we have designated meeting points where kids can join the group safely. And next slide, please. And the bike bus has adult supervision. We have at least a lead guide at the front and a rear guide at the back, and support guides through the bike bus to ensure safety. And this structure allows us a safe and organized commute to school. It's flexible enough to work in various settings, from busy city streets to quiet town roads. So next slide, please. And as you can see here, here there is a picture from Bicibús Eixample in Barcelona, and the bike bus can work in large cities also. In Barcelona, people are accompanied by police and have a strong activist spirit. And next slide, please. And we can see also this this bike bus from a smaller town called Prats de Lluçanès, with about 2,000 inhabitants, more or less. And this bike bus has a huge impact in the community and also in traffic around the school, because many people attend to school by car. Normally, there is not public transport, and school is a little bit far, walking from town, and that's because has a great impact in road traffic. So next slide, please. Now let's look at how how our bike bus is organized. And if we pass to the next slide, we have identified three main types. A family bike bus. This is typically run by parents and families themselves. It's more like a grassroots approach, where the community takes the initiative, and children must be accompanied by their tutors or parents. And then we have also bike bus with volunteers. These are often managed by cycling organizations, but sometimes are the main parents from other kids who also guide the group. Kids can came to the bike bus alone, and this also give us the opportunity to other families to for the parents of these families go, for example, go to work earlier, etc. And also we have bike buses with paid leaders. In some cases, there are paid professionals who organize and lead the bike buses. Next slide, please. And now we see different types of organizations that typically run the bike buses. For example, parents and families often organize through parents associations in schools. And this is mostly a grassroots approach. And it's very common here in Catalonia. But also we have bike buses organized by cycling organizations that have some experience, volunteers, etc. For example, in Belgium, Provelo in Brussels has been organizing bike buses since 2003. Or teachers, for example, in secondary schools, teachers are guiding the bike buses. This is because teenagers, sorry, doesn't like to be accompanied by their own parents. So teachers is a good alternative. And also local administration provide funding and support for bike buses. So here the key is finding the right fit for the specific community needs and available resources. And sometimes a combination of these organizers working together can create the most successful and sustainable bike bus programs. So let's see the next slide, please. Origins. Okay. The concept of bike buses, if maybe we can, here there is a graph. Can we pass to the next slide, please? You can see the evolution of the bike bus in the world, and in the next slide I can explain you the history. So let's pass to the next slide. Okay, thank you. In Belgium in 1998, we see the first formal bike bus in Brecht, the city of Brecht. And this was a collaborative effort between a school and a group of parents, setting the foundation for the concept. In 2001, for example, in France, there were some manuals explaining how to manage a bike bus. And during 2007 and 2013, during this period, bike bus projects started popping up in various countries, including Spain, UK, US, Australia. But in 2014, in Colombia, in Bogota, a significant milestone, in my opinion, occurred because there were the first large-scale municipal bike bus program. And then what we see after COVID-19, during 2020 and 2021, the most recent wave of bike bus popularity was driven also by social media and initiatives in big Catalonia and Barcelona gained significant attention and inspired many new bike buses around the world. So next slide, please. Next. So according to the global survey, conducted by a research group from the Autonomous University of Barcelona, bike buses have spread to many parts of the world now, and we have identified over 470 bike buses worldwide, with 32,000 children to school each week in bike buses in many locations, mainly in Europe, but also in the United States. And also in UK, there are a lot of bike buses now. So next slide, please. Why are bike buses important? Of course, cycling reduces the community's carbon footprint. Cycling increases physical activity, making kids happier and more awake. And also there are a lot of bike buses that has music and themed rides. and it makes the journey enjoyable. So let's see now another slide about Modeshift, because in some communities, bike buses can facilitate a significant shift in transportation modes. For example, in this little town that we saw before, 23% of students of the school participate in the bike bus. This is a lot of people, and we calculated with the app that about 22 cars were parked at home, not going to school. So it's a huge it has a huge impact. So next slide, please. So during and according to the survey that we saw before, people answer that 93% of people answer that the bike bus is like a form of activism that demands child-friendly streets, and it raises awareness about the need for better urban planning for cyclists and pedestrians. And also 92% of participants in the survey feel safer riding in a group, and this also addresses safety concerns that often prevent children from cycling to school. And also it's a form of practical option to move to school. 57% says that it's more practical to get to school by bike bus than by other means. So next slide, we are finishing. And what people say about how they feel in the streets riding bicycles, this data is very interesting, because 80% says that the route we take is not safe for a child to ride without the bike bus. So this means that bike bus provides you a more safer option than riding from themselves. 63% also say that there are too much cars in streets, and 69% has also safety concerns and say that they are concerned with road safety. And now I'm going to share with you the last slide. This is the Bike Bus Declaration. It was made during the Barcelona Bike Bus Summit in March 2023, and says that bike bus is joy and freedom. Community bike rides to school make kids happier, more awake, and ready to learn. Our community becomes more connected and resilient, and we demonstrate that our streets can be for children too. As a bike bus community, we demand that our political leaders prioritize urban space and resources for child-friendly, healthy, and safer streets. So next slide. I'm inviting you to get on the bike bus, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Edward. That was brilliant. And thank you to our first three speakers of the webinar. So we'll now hand over to Nick for questions to each of our speakers. So over to you.
Yeah, we have a few questions in on the chat and the Q&A function at the moment. There's one for Catherine and two for Corinne at the moment. Feel free to keep adding. We've got a few minutes for questions. So if you do have anything, feel free to put them on there. So first off to Catherine on Walk to School. We have, are your resources, oh sorry, I should say this is from Keith W. I think we might know Keith W. I think he's from the Modeshift team. He says, are your resources mainly for primary schools, or do you try to target secondary schools as well?
Great question, yeah, because so the initiatives I spoke about are targeted at primary age children. That's just what I spoke about today, but we do also have resources targeted at transitions to secondary school. So that's year 6, that's primary age, the last year of primary school in the UK, through to year 7, which is the first year of secondary. and I'll put a link in the chat that's called Next Steps. But we are also currently looking at initiatives for older secondary age children. So if anybody have any ideas or things they'd like to see, do please share them, because I'd love to hear, and maybe we can tie that in with our work that we're doing. I will put a link in the chat.
Awesome. Thanks, Catherine. And then a couple of questions for East. So first one, this isn't the one I prepped you on, so this is a slightly different one. So we've got from Chris P, I believe all schools should have 20 mile per hour speed limits in the UK at peak times. How did you go about approaching authorities in the countries to change the limits? And do you work with charities in the UK?
For the first question, no, we don't work in the UK sort of as a focus, but we would always welcome to bring UK experiences into our country. And in fact, we've developed an education pack for schools that we've translated into, I think, 15 languages based on the Think campaign. So we have brought in sort of UK knowledge into our region. In terms of getting involved in, sort of the government levels and with our NGOs, it varies from country to country. So, for example, in Moldova, where they had 30 kilometers per hour, 20 miles per hour put into the national road regulations in 2022. So that was sort of the result of a very long advocacy campaign and almost sort of 10 years of working with the government. In fact, we have a case study report on Moldova and how they've achieved this, because they were also one of the few countries in the world to have achieved the goal of the UN Decade of Action for Road Safety to reduce road fatalities by 50% by initially 2020. Now it's 2030. So we've got a case study on all of that, sort of how our NGO partner in Moldova has done that, and it's through a variety of methods. A lot of it is, they had big events. They invited governments to come in. They sort of work from the ground up, delivering projects, inviting government speakers, and then gradually, sort of the relevant stakeholders get engaged and get involved, and you sort of grow the will from inside. So that's a lot of how our partners work. In Georgia, at one point, the mayor of Tbilisi was extremely sympathetic, and our partner would go cycling on cycle sort of audits around the city with the mayor, and they would identify places where they wanted bike lanes and different things. So yeah, it's just sort of a big variety of ways, but a lot of it is just inviting them to the events, just keep doing it, keep plugging away, going to the offices, sitting in the waiting room for hours and trying to talk to them. So it's a lot of hard work and it takes a long time. I think that would be my main message, but the outcomes when you get there do work.
Keep persistent, and that political support is super helpful as well, isn't it? The other quick question for you is there a template for the East Community Perception Survey available online?
There is not at the moment. There are reports of both the one we did in 2021 and 2023, the 2023 one, comparing the results with the 2021 edition. We're currently just developing, just slightly tweaking. We don't want to change too much because we do want the results to be comparable, but we're just tweaking slightly the survey for 2025. But I can send links maybe through Emily to the reports and to the survey that we did have. But yeah, look out in early 2025. Hopefully around February, we will be publishing results of the new one, and that will have the template at the bottom as an annex.
Awesome. We can always share that for you as Modeshift as well, so we can push it around our members and supporters around the UK. Cool. Edward, a question for you if you're still there. You still there?
Yeah.
Still there. There's a box covering you on our screen. There you go. So question from Jason: how is the safety of the bike bus governed? Are qualified ride leaders required, or does each bike bus set their own guidance?
Well, it depends of the initiative. In our case, in the case of parents who got a bike bus implemented by our organization, they receive initial training from qualified trainers. So this is crucial because there is a significant difference between knowing how to ride a bike, cycling in traffic, and leading a bike bus. So it needs qualified training. But there are some grassroots initiatives that by their own they decide how to guide the bike bus.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Edward. So now we'll just have a quick roundtable discussion with our guests. So Jenny, I would love to hear what your takeaways have been of our speakers so far.
Oh gosh,
to discuss.
How long have we got? Not very long. I've been scribbling away lots of notes, and yeah, it was very selfish of me agreeing to come today because I just want to soak up all the ideas and inspiration. I think it's always good to just top that up whenever you get the opportunity. But yeah, just really good to hear, even things that I'm quite familiar with, like the work of Living Streets. It's always evolving. There's always new ideas and initiatives coming on stream. I really liked all the assembly content around confidence, and that really taps into what Active Travel England is trying to do. We're trying to help people feel confident to make the choice to walk, wheel and cycle for their everyday journeys, and going to school is a huge one. And just instilling that confidence, but also creating an environment in which people can feel confident. So a lot of what we do is around the infrastructure as well as the engagement and behaviour change stuff. So that was really good to see. And yeah, Corinne, just hearing all the examples that you were talking about, and it made me think about active travel ambassadors and like the opportunities that there might be to link up the work that's going on across England with young people, and the campaigning work they're doing within schools with Modeshift, and then the young people across different parts of the world and sharing their experiences. And it's not necessarily the case that, the UK is streets ahead and, we've just got all this wisdom to impart. Actually, there's a huge amount to learn from these countries that maybe don't quite have the same infrastructure, but they've got a real will to want to create safer places. And so, yeah, it'd be really good to maybe see how we can link those two together. I don't know if you thought that, Emily, as well.
Yeah, my brain has been fizzing with ideas. I think there's so much scope to bring people together to share best practice on an international scale. I definitely thought the same. Thanks, Jenny. Corinne, any high-level takeaways for yourself? I can see you've been scribbling.
Yeah, I have. I mean, I love all the ideas. I think they're so innovative. It sounds so basic, but I just love how it's so child-centric and so age-appropriate. I mean, in the region we work, the initiatives for kids aren't always, in fact, they're rarely considered to be so engaging and so fun. So I think that's a really good element to weave in. And again, a lot of takeaways and things that I think we can pass on to the organizations that we work with. It also made me think of an idea I had ages ago but never followed up on, and maybe this links to the question about if we work in the UK. I've always thought of twinning. It might be like twinning schools, to be something to pursue, and it just sort of reawaken that thought. So that might be something to pursue as well in the future.
Definitely. And Nick, any takeaways from yourself from the presentation?
Just going to throw it back on Corinne again quickly.
Yeah.
Because there's another question come up that's quite a good one based on around that stuff. Are there any countries you recommend we take a look at for inspiration? Any particular standout ones? You don't have to pick one out if that feels like the wrong thing to do.
I think I would again go back to Moldova. I mean, they've been really, really successful there. Our partners there are involved in everything. Like whenever there's a community event, a fair, a fete, like they are there. They're with a stand. They have a little cycle lane for kids. They have little activities. They give things out. Like they're really, really, really strong at community engagement, but also political engagement. So I think they would be a really good example to look to.
So I've just been told off on the chat because that question wasn't for you, apparently. It's a good answer.
Expertly dodging these.
I think she was probably better placed to respond to it than I am.
Yeah. So, Jenny, any thoughts on that? I guess we're picking up.
I'm just soaking it all up at the moment. It's just really always really good to say, because there's new stuff happening all the time, and I'm looking forward to the next set of presentations to find out even more.
Yeah. Cool.
Any takeaways you'd like to share before we hand over to our next set of speakers, Nick?
I think the quick one for me is it kind of raises the question, who's responsible for improving walking, cycling infrastructure, making it safer, making it more attractive? And I think there's three really nice different presentation shows. It's all of us, we're all responsible. You started at sort of the global international level with politicians included. Living Streets, obviously the national stuff that they do for lots of schools, and then the bike buses, which are really a real local level with communities and parents and children getting involved. So yeah, I think that just highlights for me from all three that we're all responsible to deliver more active travel.
Yeah, we all want to sign the bike bus declaration, so that'll get us all committed. Lovely. Well, we'll now move on to our second set of speakers. We will hand over to Loredana Madugno, who is dialing in from Italy. So Loredana, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Lovely. Fantastic. Over to you, Loredana.
Thank you very much. I wait for my presentation. Thank you very much. I'm Loredana Modugno. I'm a mobility expert. I work with several municipalities in the south of Italy, and I'm a specialist on mobility plans, some sustainable urban mobility plans. And within this framework, I work with different communities in order to try to change the habits of the inhabitants, because those are really small villages in the south of Italy. And if you want, you can scroll through the images, and I will tell you when you stop. So this is Puglia, my region, and those are some of the projects I'm going to tell you. The first one is Metro Games, which is a platform based on gamification, try to involve small citizens and citizens in order to focus on new habits based on mobility. So it's a platform. You can download this app, and the game is based on, of course, sorry, this was a project that we realized thanks to Living Lab, and we get financial from the region of Puglia. And the Metro Games was developed in Acquaviva delle Fonti, which was a small city in Puglia, about 21,000 inhabitants. And how it works, the game. Can you go on, please? Next slide. You can go next. So we start with the SAMP measures, bike lane, and also pedestrian areas, and also safe routes areas for children. And then, stop just a second, we work on Metro Minuto. I don't know if you know this measure. Is based on transit map, like the metro map, but they tell you the distance between the most important node of the city. So from Metro Minuto, we produce Metro Games, which was a game in order to find some icon inside the city, and the smaller the boys and girls, the students should find those icons. Like it was like I said this game. I don't remember. Caccia al Tesoro, we called in Italy. So how was this? Stop for just a second. Oh, we can go further. Go. So the game was based in each network, and each each participant should play alone or with the neighbors, the other neighbors. And when you win, we can, here there is the app that we developed. And when you win, you can win a prize for the neighbor or a prize for each participant. So those, if you go further, we have the website, and also we, through the games, we collect also data analysis. We make questionnaires with the primary school, the secondary school. Okay, to know, you can go further, you can go through the images. We collect a lot of database. Just to show how many. We define the main routes, the safe and sustainable routes that the younger boys could pass by. And we also make a co-project, co-participation with the children. We define how the icons should be, because each neighborhood has an icon. Those are, for example, the icon. And so inside the app, the guys, the participants should find the icons, and they can take a picture or the QR code and collect data and point in order to win. Those are some prize that we get. We win Walk 21 Seoul, and also the Biennale of Public Space in Italy, and other prize from Legambiente, which is a national association. And here in the link, you can find how it works, the map. In the map, you can find also information about the cities and principal monument of the city. This is another project we realized in Molfetta. When you don't have money, we use the instrument that we already have. This is Minecraft. This is Molfetta. Those are small citizens, and the people are used to go by car, even if the distance between the school and the home is very short. So how it works, we use gamification again. We identify the neighborhood, and we collect data on the context, and also how how they will imagine these routes to go to the school. And go on, please. And here we also define. This was really an instant workshop. We do this in one day. So it was like how to insert those concepts inside of the school, because often the boys, the children, they don't have any idea about the school. So we were working on public space, how it could be transformed, and all the project was made in 1 hour with Minecraft. This is the last project we did, not the last one of the best project. We win the prize from Regione Puglia. This is the first map on the first map on based on mobility community on mobility. The first map of community based on mobility. And this is also another fund that we win with the Puglia region. You can go further. And the project of my bitmap was made in collaboration with different association. Just go back 1 second, please. So there are 3 villages. This is all the territories. And we work with all the school, primary school, secondary school, and also of the cities. And this is the first map on mobility. This calls community map that I think in English is perception map, something like that. And we work with all community. Those are some images you can go on. We work on for 6 months with all the students, 2,000 people. And we explain what was mobility, sustainable mobilities, and what is the community map. And also we work on how to define the indicators of public space. So the most important things was to work with the boys and girls in order to define their experience of the street. This is Barcelona. I was living there 12 years. And so how we could build a map, on a community map on mobility without any kind of infrastructure. Normally, the community map are based on common value, the most important value that you have in the cities. Or in this case, we should find the value of mobility. So how we could build a community map based on mobility if we didn't have infrastructure. Here the people, those are some images of the lectures that we do, and we were involved for 6 months. And here there is the collection of all the thought of the boys. They are different age, 60-year-olds, 18-year-olds, and they give me back feedback on how they want to change the surround of the school based on their own experience. The idea was to focus on the experience that they had of the school. You can go on, because this is from the primary and secondary school. Each one of these drawing is made by by a student. Go on, and we have a roll up, and then we realized we can go on. Here you can have a link to the map, and you can see, I don't know if it's possible to see the map. 1 second, and show a small video. If it's possible, no, don't know, to link, to go back and go in the map. 2 slides back. Again, back. Okay, if you try to push on the link, it's easy. You have the map, and here you have the community map. Each color is based in one definition of experience of the boys. All those dots are the thought, the experience of each person. And if you push on the black one, you can also see a video. If so, you can easily check the map and see the video that the guys realize on their experience on the school home travel. And at the end of the project, we I don't know if it's before 2 slides before, sorry. Go back. Okay, sorry, it's hard to. Oh no, probably it's, I don't remember, it's a little bit more. I just want to see how many people we involved in the project. Go on, okay. So those are the people involved in the project, the younger people, almost 2,000 more or less, and different kind of school. And those are the guys that helped me to work on the project with the and this is the final presentation with the Puglia region, where we show the result of the project. And if you go on, after with these guys, here we get the prize. And after this experience, we decide to realize one of these dots, well, one of these desired. And we write this project called B2, Bitonto Tactical Urbanism Intervention, which shows the main street that connect three schools. Please go back 1 second. Okay. Okay, and this is another square. Those are the place that the boys chose in the community map that needs to be rethink. So here is a parking car. This is the boys involved, and so we decide to work on safe routes, and with the guys we start to rethink the path, the school path, and this is one day work. In one day, we realize this street changing the feeling of the streets, because actually no one go to the school through this street. So now these streets and this square is already, familiar for them. We also renovate a small park next to the school, and we transform this like a leisure park. And the most important things of this project is that it's not just the tactical urbanism, but it's something that comes out from their desire. Of course, in a lot of cities of Europe are working on this, but here in Italy, it's something very new. This is the next step. I'm working in this project. It's the last slide. The idea is to organize with the same students. Please go back, sorry. With the same student involved in the map and in the project, an hackathon where we will work on the map that you already done, but giving other colors or indicators based on security, road safety, and environmental impact, accessibility. So add information to the map. This map is open map. They can add every time a dot based on their experience to go to the school, and this is an important instrument to talk with the municipality in order to change and transform the cities based on the younger people that live the cities. Bitonto is a city of 60,000 inhabitants. It's a car city. There are no bike line, there are no squares, there is no park, there is nothing. The green line you said there, it's an abandoned park. So the younger guys, they really don't feel inhabitants or of the cities. So they really needs to change living habitats, but also work in the appropriation of public space. So this map was the expression of their desire and was the instrument to talk with the municipality to show what the younger generation wants to for their city, the city where they live. So thank you very much. It was very hard and quickly. And if you have questions, I'm here.
Thank you so much, Loredana. That was impressive to see so much of your work in such a short amount of time. So well done for getting through all that.
Yeah, it's very funny because normally I work in SAMP. That is something very, very boring. But trying to involve citizens through gamification, and it's a way to explain what sustainable mobility is, that is still an argue that is not really well known.
No, I think it's really impressive.
It looks, yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. So we'll move on to our next speaker, and then we will take questions after our final speaker shortly. But I'm now excited to hand over to Agnieszka Szyszczak-Pitora in Poland, who will tell us all about the amazing work she is doing. Can you hear us, Agnieszka? Are you dialed in okay?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Wonderful.
Okay, so I will introduce myself properly in Polish. My name is Agnieszka Szyszczak-Pitora. I know that this is hard for non-Polish speaker, and I am a CEO and the founder of Parent in the City Foundation, which is the NGO in Poland, located in Poland. And today I will show you our work on a school street, safe road to school. But first of all, I would like to give you some background, which is of course similar to other cities, but not the same. That's why I think it's quite important to start with the background in Poland on which we are working on. So you can see here the three most popular proverbs about kids, which are very rooted in Polish society, which are very connected to how our cities and public spaces look like. You can see on the picture, this is my own 3-year-old daughter, which are trying, we are on our road to home from the preschool, and this is the car, which is on the sidewalk, of course, and you can see the disproportion of her height and this car. Next slide, please. And this is exactly how our Polish cities looks like. Cars are everywhere, not only on the line, the streets, they're also on the bike lines, and they are of course everywhere on the sidewalks, which gives kids not especially safe opportunity to safe walking on the city, moving on the city, and of course going on the to school. And every discussion about pedestrians and pedestrian rights and the kids' rights to being safe in the city are a very difficult issue in Poland, because we have somehow we are very connected with our cars, and we are we are treat them like something that belongs to you very strictly, and you cannot move your car from the sidewalk. Next slide, please. And it's not only the street, there are also like the backyards, which 10 years ago were dedicated for kids and the pedestrians and the people who are living around the backyards in the blocks and the apartments. Now there are, of course, the car parks. What does it make for kids? That there is no any safe places for kids in our cities to play and just be outside outside home. Next slide, please. So what we try to make is to change this streets for the school street. What is it? School street is the street in front of the school and preschool where there is no car, and this is the place for kids. And we were starting our work in 2021 with 5 local schools and communities in Warsaw. Next slide. And what are the foundation on our work? First of all, we want to involve community of our work. This is instead that we are the quite big and representative NGO in Poland. Every time we are trying to involve local community to our work. So we are working with the group at least 5 people, because we don't want to put the all project and all work on the hand of one active parent or teacher. And also we are trying to connect different stakeholders. So we are trying to create groups with students, parents, teachers, but also local stakeholders like the municipalities, and sometimes also the people who are living on the school street. Next slide, please. Another one, which is very important for us, it's showing the problem of safety from the kids' perspective. So we are using photos, they are real ones, We are also trying to use photos made by the concrete group with from concrete students which are on this local school we are working on. But we also use some studies. We are showing, for example, the studies that the kids in Warsaw want to go by bike to school. Like 87% of Warsaw students want to go to school by bike or scooter or walking. We also show the data about safety. That one in the. Sorry, that was my kid. That one of the 5 of Warsaw primary school students already had the dangerous incident with a car in front of the school, but we also show how bad situation in behalf of air pollution, kids' hair, and also human rights cities gives this situation with cars in front of the school. Next slide. What is very important to us is to stay with municipalities from the very beginning of our work, because we know that only involve them from the first meeting give us some perspective to success to put the project later, because we as an NGO we can make the process with the local communities, etc. But after that, there is the hard work and infrastructure changes etap, and we have to cooperate with municipalities with this. So we are trying to involve them in this process. The best practice is to try to put them in this group which are making the process from the beginning. Next slide. What is another thing very important for us? We are taking it seriously in this process that we are creating with the groups. We use some tools with kids, for example, like the pictures and the walks when they are showing the difficult parts of school streets, school work for them, and also we are asking how the imaginary school street should look like, and we take every idea seriously. That means, if, for example, when kids, like you can see in this picture above, kids, some kids give us the feedback that they want to have like the pool in front of the school on the streets. We are not laughing of that, and we are not telling them that this is totally stupid idea. We are trying to figure out what the needs, what kind of need is behind this idea. Next slide, please. And of course, this is the, maybe not of course, this is the thing that we are figuring out after a few process, that we are not making visualization. So we are not creating the computer pictures how the school street can look like, or the street, the school street, or the street in front of the school, how it should look like. We are trying to make the urban experience. So after we create on the workshop project, we are trying to put it for the one day on the street, measure it, feel it, saw it. We are not talking about the visualization, because for our perspective, it doesn't give people the feeling how the street could be different. Next slide, please. So, for example, this urban experiment we made in this one. This is the one of the school that we were working on in 2022. So we create from the street that usually every day looks like on the left. We created street for the people, for the kids, as you can see on the right. Next slide, please. And here the example that we are not we aren't changing the parking beside the school, which usually is used by teachers and parents to put the kids by car and something like the drop-off place, and we changed it for space for kids, and they can use it before the classes and after the classes and between them. Next slide, please. And another one from this our project, which were also like the usual school street, as you can see on the picture on the left, and we created for the kids. And in fact, this one location was now is the school street, were created in this September by municipality of Warsaw. They use our project and our work with community, and they change it as the one of the school street in Warsaw. Next slide, please. What is important to us is also that during this whole process, we are trying to give the tools to the community we are working with, because we don't want to, like finish the project when our finance is over and leave them, because of course, as you can imagine, the whole process to get to the actual school street, which is made by municipalities, is very long. So we are trying to give them pulse. We have some publications, and one of them are made by us, another are from the other NGOs, and also we are staying in touch with them, and we are trying to help every time they ask about how to start doing the school street. Next slide. And of course, we are trying to show what the difference can make, what kind of difference school street can make. So we are taking the action Streets for Kids with coalition with Clean Cities campaign, in which twice a year we are trying to organize like the 1 day event when kids are going on the streets and demanding the recreation, the street for their needs. Of course, we are making some webinars for the people, local leaders who wants to know how to start the process of creating a school street. And of course, we are also making the whole communication and media relation to push the idea of the school street on a public debate. Next slide, please. And what impact we make? In Poland, we have 8 school streets so far, but so it's a long process, and we are starting we've started like 3 years ago, and we are NGO with very limited finance. But what in fact we already changed is what people think about the school streets. As you can see on this chart, 48% Polish parents believe that the streets in front of school are dangerous. 72%, which is very high in my opinion, Polish parents think that kids shouldn't be driven by a car to school. Parents also sees that air pollution is a very urgent problem, which needs like the solution from the government right now. And they see that kids are the group which are which should be especially protected from the traffic pollution. And the study in Warsaw sees that already 65% of Warsaw parents supports the school street, exactly this solution. So thank you very much. Let's stay in touch. I'm open for a question.
Thank you very much, Agnieszka. That was brilliant. And we'll now hand over to our final speaker of the afternoon before taking to questions. So I warmly welcome Cecilia Mwangi to the webinar. Cecilia, are you there?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Hello.
Hi, thank you.
Please confirm you can hear me.
Perfectly. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. My name is Cecilia Mwangi. I work with Kenya Red Cross and simply here to talk to you about what we're doing in a nutshell. Forgive me, it's already night here. So yeah, I'll just be a bit brief. Next slide, please. So about Kenya Red Cross. Yes, thank you. So why we are talking about road safety. So a bit of background of about who we are. We are formed by an act of parliament by the Kenyan government, and we work as a national society amongst other 190 plus national society under the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. Now, Kenya Red Cross has a department called Kenya Red Cross Youth, which basically focuses on youth development. And youth here, we look at children, adolescent, as well as young people above the age of 18 years. And we look at them or work or design programs around governance and leadership, youth livelihood and economic empowerment, peace building and conflict prevention, health, climate action, with two supportive units, that is youth innovation and students programming. This background is important because of where this actual program I'm going to talk about lies in. Next slide, please. Yeah, so under the students program, we realized that in Kenya, many young people are affected, especially in matters of road traffic incidences. With us talking about measures, what are the speed limits, especially near school zones. So we focused our program around this, and we partnered with the Michelin Corporate Foundation and Total Energies on this particular program. Now, the program in itself is called VIA, and VIA is not an acronym for absolutely anything, but we launched this in 2020, sometime in March, right before COVID-19 hit the country, just like many other countries for that matter. And we first piloted this program in 19 schools within Nairobi, the city. Why the city is because Nairobi, amongst other districts or provinces, is widely affected by the numbers of road traffic crashes and incidences within Kenya. And so this was something that we felt is needful. Also focusing on our engagement in schools, we did receive a lot of conversations or feedback that as much as we are teaching kids about basic first aid, which is one of our mandates, we also needed to look at what do we do before these traffic incidences, so at least we avoid actually doing the basic first aid. Somebody asked, would that put you out of business? Not really. It would actually be saving lives, which is also part of our mandate. So how did we do this? We had 15 TOTs trained who later trained other young people. So we believe in capacity development of young people and a sort of structure of mentorship. So we have 15, now 25 young people who are trained in the first phase of this program, who actually implemented this session in those 19 schools. The VIA program is a toolkit developed by the two organization, Michelin and Total Energies corporate foundations, and targets young people between 10 to 18 years. We worked with various stakeholders. So working in schools in Kenya is not something that you do alone. You have to work with various stakeholders, for example, the Ministry of Education, so the government, Ministry of Health, who are key in this conversation: the police or road traffic marshals, teachers, and now the students. So the first phase of the program was looking at training of 3,252 students in those 19 schools. Of course, I mentioned we started this during the COVID-19 period. So other than having physical sessions in schools, we also had virtual sessions because learning was interrupted in Kenya for almost 9 months. The module or the program has 4 modules. The 4 modules look at, identifying the problem within your community, then capacity building in road safety. Then we have a component of creation of messages, so the advocacy component of it, and then taking action. So in my next slide, you'll see that other than scaling this up, we got students to talk about issues affecting them, and you can see some of the drawings that students actually did. This would actually talk about the road safety crisis within their communities and share this with the government, share this with their parents, share this with different community members, just to promote road safety education. So we did this in the schools. We had facilitator training in these sessions. Now we had an acceleration phase in 2022. So the inception phase was from 2022, around the beginning of 2022, and then we had the acceleration phase in 2022, 2023. Now, how did we get around the acceleration phase? So once we did the conversations in Nairobi, the one district in Kenya, we got feedback from schools, from teachers, actually saying that this program is timely even for their students. And we looked at which other counties are largely affected by this. So we had Nakuru and Murang'a counties, so 2 more districts coming on board for this. The feedback we also got was from the National Transport and Safety Authority, who keep the data, monitor any incidences in collaboration with the traffic officers, and this was also very impactful for us. So remember, in the first phase we worked in 19 schools. We didn't stop at the 19. We also added 78 institutions, including children's homes and also religious institutions. Why was this important for us? It's because we wanted to reach more, and we just realized that education is not just in schools. So we have children's homes that actually provide education for our target audience, and therefore we had to also have this 78 plus 19, roughly 96. I'm poor at mathematics, 97 thereabout. But all these institutions were really tough to cover, with the 15 to 25 peer facilitators who are trained. So we trained a couple of more facilitators. So we had in the acceleration phase more 54. So we had around 79 facilitators working on this program. We are really grateful to our stakeholders for this, because without them, we actually would not have achieved the numbers that we had. One thing that we saw with this program, and perhaps in my next slide you'll be able to see this, is we achieved greater numbers than we had actually anticipated. So initially we were looking at for the pilot and acceleration phase, we thought of reaching 15,000 students, but for the 2 phases we were actually able to reach 32,200 plus students. So the difference with the representation is as indicated in the slide. So we had 51% of the boys and 49% for the girls, and a slight change for the second phase. Next slide, please. So what were the best practices that we got from this? So we had engagement of stakeholders from the design to implementation of this phase. So an example of a county or a district, so we had districts that had schools with no safe markings or road markings, and having them part of this process ensured that some of these roads were marked. We even saw traffic marshals being deployed to support with kids going to school. We had, safety signs being put up. We had stakeholders who were even providing reflectors for marshals, lollipop signs. So that was quite amazing, which is something that we didn't actually think we would achieve when we were starting this. We had skill retention because some of these TOTs beyond the project period were able to implement and are actually implementing this in the schools as of now. Engagement of teachers, school administration, and community members actually helped translate this to ensure there was positive behavior change beyond the students. So we had community members. I once met a community member, meaning somebody who is not a parent to a student, a teacher, or a member of any school administration, tell me that, our kids nowadays are not getting knocked down. So that for me was a huge win beyond just our target group. Now, Kenya Red Cross is a member of various committee members. Thank you. We are grateful because of this project. One of them is we sit in the National Helmet Wearing Coalition, where we influence policies with different stakeholders, working with members of parliament to, effect laws that, benefit the kids, but then also looks at safety, their safety to and from schools. So we had this program being incorporated in our students' programming, which was a value addition to our general programming for the schools. Some of the challenges I think we encountered included closure of schools during the pandemic. This was a big blow because it was just the start of the program, and we're looking at having this for a longer period. We mentioned that we worked in, I mentioned that we worked or we had virtual sessions. So however much we did this, most schools in Kenya lack the digital capacity or lacked the digital capacity. And so some of the students were actually left out of this program. However, we found a way to integrate this once in a while. And for the schools that missed out on this, we were able to capture them once the schools were back in sessions. So there was interest. There was increased interest in this program. We were looking at 19 schools, and now we are working in close to 96, 100 schools having this program. And some of the classrooms, so for an ideal classroom, for you to implement this project, you need to have 50 students, and that's a maximum for better attention. And would find schools giving us up to 1,000 students for one session. So it was both bitter and sweet, so good and bad, but really worked out for us. Now, how did this, and this is not in my presentation, I think it's something I'm just wrapping through my mind right now. How did this work for us? So we do train a student in identifying a problem. What is the road safety challenge within your community and surrounding your schools? And then number two, we ask them to talk about this. How do you talk about it? You can create a video, you can create a song, you can create a piece of artwork, and from this we will share this with the relevant stakeholders, and then from that you're going to create an action plan. An action plan looks like the problem that you have identified, look for resources and come up with a solution for it. So for us, that was something that it was my key takeaway from this whole experience, still is, and we are looking forward to doing this more in 7 other districts. So we would potentially have this in 10 districts within Kenya. The other key success was some of the students actually came up with a road safety game. They created it from scratch, and they're using this to make it easier for other students to engage in road safety conversations within the different community setups. We are having an online learning platform, and we are looking forward to integrating this project or this program there. The program in itself is called the Empowers Today Learning Program. It's a self-paced learning program for students between 10 to 18 years. It's being launched later in the year, sometime November. So we're looking forward to incorporating this, and this program can not just be accessible to students in Kenya, potentially in the African region and globally. I think I mentioned there is a demand for this program in 7 other districts, and I'm really hoping that yeah, we can be able to achieve this together with other young people in Kenya. So perhaps the next slide is more or less like photos, but I just asked to stop there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cecilia. That was brilliant. And we really appreciate you dialing in out of working hours, as many of our speakers have done. So we'll just hand over now to some questions before wrapping up the webinar. So Nick, how are the questions looking in the chat?
I've lost them. I pressed the wrong button. You did tell me to be quick and now I've lost them. There they are. So first one, excuse me. I've worked out who JR was in the chat that was having a go at me before, because he's now put a comment in. So it's James Roger from ScootFit, who just made a shout out to everyone. He says that hi to international colleagues, Scootball will be coming to your country soon. If anyone wants to check out Scootball on the ScootFit website, I'm sure James will share that after in the chat here. So we have a question first for Loredana. Which was, I think someone picked up that one of your slides had mention of a law change that reduced road casualties by 30%. Are you able to share any more information on that?
You're on mute, Loredana.
Sorry, I forgot. Sorry, I was concentrated on the question. Yeah, actually, it's really hard. I really appreciate also the work of the others, because make me feeling more less alone, you said, because it's really hard work to work with communities. We with the gamification, we had the possibility to collect data, and it was really an instrument to open mind to administration. And also the Puglia region now is working on this project. The next month I will work with 96 schools. I didn't know what's going on. So the 30% is based on the data we collect with the app of gamification. So we reach the target of the people we involved in. And imagine also that this gaming, Metro Games, was realized during the COVID period. So it was hard also to involve younger people in the project. What makes this possible was the introduction of gamification and prizes in order to involve people and make the people more conscious of the place where they live in. Most often I'm a citizen, but I don't feel part of the city. So it's important to make that law change. It's important to collect data and demonstrate to the municipality that a lot of people are involved on the project and believe in the project. When I work with the community map on mobility, this is the first community map in the world on mobility. Those are parish map, you call in England parish map, I don't know, but this is based on mobility. First, we did a work with the younger boys. It's like really 6 to 18, the age. And for me, to have the strength of the younger people was an instrument to convince the municipality to change the rules and to start to think. There's a lot of work to do still on education. People don't know what is mobility, sustainable mobility, but here in Puglia, they didn't even know what does mean, I said, public space. What are how you define public space and how you should feel in the public space. So we should work on education still, but also in education. I love this last presentation because they really did a good job to educate a lot of different kind of people, not only students or teachers, but also stakeholder and more people.
Yeah, I agree, Loredana. That was a big takeaway for me from Cecilia's presentation too. Thank you very much for that answer. I've got a couple more questions, Nick, before we...
But we've just had the 5-minute warning come up on screen. I wondered if you wanted to chat to colleagues.
Yes, and any questions what are in the chat, please feel free. Our speakers can answer to directly. Just conscious of timing. So just to hand over and wrap up then, what are the takeaways from those presentations, guys? Have we got any comments we'd like to share before finishing?
Go on, shall I kick us off?
Yeah, go on.
So, yeah, I mean, again, I could talk all night, but we have only got a few minutes. So I think for me, the kind of theme that came out from these three presentations was really just the importance of having that meaningful engagement with young people, not a tokenistic thing, not just doing something to them, but actually listening to what they want and need. I think it was one of the comments was, don't laugh at their ideas, try and understand what the need behind that idea is, and then you'll go a long way. I thought that was a really good thing to take away from today, and hopefully we'll be able to do more of that with our projects in the future.
Yeah, really good point. Corinne?
I'd agree with you 100%. I've written almost exactly the same thing. It's the importance, the value of community participation, getting everyone stuck in.
Yeah.
Whether it's mapping, tactical urbanism, project design, it's really important. I really just also like the very innovative ways of collecting data through the different activities.
Yeah.
Monitoring, evaluation, that's really hard. So getting to do it through the work is really cool as well.
Yeah, agree. Thank you. And Nick?
I think that the key for me was that people really want this stuff. So in our industry, it can be pretty tricky sometimes when you're out there trying to engage people in active travel, any form of sustainable travel, and kind of getting this message that we're being anti-car and we need to be a bit careful. But I think Agnieszka said 87% of kids want to walk, cycle or scoot to school. Similar data comes out of England, the rest of the UK. There was support for school streets in there, support for new measures, people wanting to breathe cleaner air. People really do want to benefit from the work that we're doing. So although sometimes it can feel a little bit lonely wherever your workplace is, that you're the only one working on this, we are all working in the same direction and people do want it.
Yeah, and that's a brilliant note to end on. So anything else to wrap up, Nick, or shall we? Good. Well, thank you so much to everybody for joining and for our amazing speakers. And we hope you've taken some inspiration from the projects. And we'll see you at the next Team Talk. And a happy birthday to Jenny and Catherine as well. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.